Hi guys, sorry I'm not here with you today, but I wanted to make sure that you know what you were doing. And today we are doing a review of one-step equations. You solved one-step equations back in 6th grade, and we are going to just quickly take a day to review this. If you have troubles with this concept, I have put up a couple of helpful math antic videos that you are more than welcome to watch. That will go through how to solve one-step equations a little bit in more detail than what I am doing today. Okay, so what you have in front of you today, if you picked up your paper from the drawer, is one of those corny joke sheets, and it's a mixture of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division equations. Okay, now normally when we solve problems, from what you've known before, we're really doing what we call evaluating them. And you've seen that word a lot lately. And that means to do the work. Okay, like if we had 3 plus 2, it would equal 5. When we had problems in parentheses and we were substituting, we followed those order of operations. In parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide from left to right, add and subtract from left to right. The next part of our algebra unit that we're going to be working on today is solving equations. And this is where you want to find out what that variable equals. Okay? And when we solve equations, we want to undo what's on the paper. Right? So we want those inverse operations. Okay? I'm going to work through one addition, one subtraction, one multiplication, and one division problem with you. And those order of operations aren't going to be as important today as they are in the next couple of days, but I want you to keep in mind that we're going to be doing the opposite of the order of operations because we're doing the opposite of what our paper tells us. Okay, and as always, you are going to be showing your work. Okay, so for number 1, we have y plus 10 equals 4. Okay. Now you could think in your head what number plus 10 equals 4, but we're really going to work on that solving piece, so you're going to be showing your work. Okay. Because this is a plus sign, we want to know what y is. We do the opposite of addition. Okay. We need the y to be by itself. That's what we call isolating the variable. So to undo this addition, we're going to use the opposite of addition, which is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 10 from each side of our equation. Right? Because our equation, if it's truly equal, what we do on one side, we have to do to both sides of that equal sign. Okay. I like to box the numbers that I'm getting rid of, that I'm undoing, so that I know what's left over. And this will come in handy when we start our 2-step. Okay, so a positive 10 and a negative 10. Those are additive inverses, right? Those opposites that we talked about way back in September. So those are going to zero out, and I'm left with y on the left-hand side of our equation. Then I look at the right-hand side, and it says 4 minus 10. And this is where integer rules come in handy. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. So in this problem, y equals negative 6. And I can check my work on this paper because I can look at the bottom and I can see that negative 6 is an option. Okay, so because I just did problem number 1, in the box it says number 1, I'm going to put the letter L because that is the letter by my answer choice. And then I'm done with this problem. Okay. We're going to come down here to number 3, because number 3 is a subtraction problem. And I want to show you one of those. Okay. Same concept. I need to do the opposite of what my problem is in order to get my variable by itself. Well, the opposite of subtraction is addition. So I'm going to add 15 to both sides. Again, it can sometimes be helpful to box in what you're getting rid of. I'm left with x on the left-hand side of the equation. -2 plus 15 is a positive 13. So x equals 13. I can look down below and I see 13 is answer choice S. Okay, so on space number 3, right, because I just did question 3, I'm going to write an S. If we look at number 5, we have multiplication, right? A number and a letter right next to each other is multiplication. To undo multiplication, I'm going to use division. I'm going to divide each side by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1, so I'm left with 1 A's on the left-hand side. 36 divided by 9 is 4, so A equals 4. So down here, my answer choices, the number 4 is the letter E. And cross that out. I just did question 5. So in the box for number 5, I'm going to write an E. And we're going to do number 7 together as well. Remember that a fraction bar doubles is a division sign. So while that looks like m over 5 as a fraction, we can think of it as m divided by 5. The opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. The divided by 5 and multiply by 5 cancel each other out, because then I'll just be left with 1m. 14 times 5. If you need to use your calculator, you may for some of these questions, but 14 times 5 is 70. So m equals 70. That is an option down here, and is the letter I. So for answer space number 7, this very first one here, I'm going to write the letter I. Okay. Please remember that as you are working through, like look at number 2, we're adding a negative. Well, the opposite of addition is subtraction. So to get rid of plus a negative, you need to subtract a negative. Okay, we'll do number 2 together really quickly as well to make sure you understand what I'm talking about here. So I want to subtract a -6 from each side of my equal sign. And remember, when you subtract a negative, because subtraction is adding the opposite, I'm really going to add a positive. So in number 2, when I subtract a -6 from each side, I'm adding a positive 6. So 11 plus 6 is 17. And if I look back at my problem, that should make sense, because 17 plus a -6 is positive 11. And down here in my answer options, letter R is 17. So in the box for number 2, I'm going to write the letter R. And you're going to go ahead and finish this page in class today. Hopefully you'll have time to finish it in class. Your answer at the bottom of the page should make sense, right? That's how you know that you did it correctly. We will talk about this piece of paper tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow. If you have extra time at the end of class, you are to grab your Chromebook and then work on MobyMax. Okay, this will help get your 60 minutes of MobyMax time. Okay, your homework tonight, if you do not finish this piece of paper in class, is to finish the piece of paper. And then your 10 minutes of MobyMax if you don't have time for MobyMax in the classroom. All right, so be good, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Monday.